at first it looked like the whole world was really against you, but God was involved every step of the way. He had a plan. He had a clear motive and a clear plan for allowing what happened happen, and that's what Professor was talking about. That brought you now, or the God Embassy, to the third level, this new stage you're in now. So, Professor, I don't know if you want to add something or.
Because, Pastor Sunday, looking at the statistics, people like to see numbers. By the end of phase 2, what I would call the old God Embassy, you are reaching already 2.5 million. You have over 700 churches, and your total membership was already over 100,000. That's success. I mean, that's spectacular success. But in your evaluation, how would you rate your effectiveness, even at that?
With those statistics, I knew somewhere inside me that that was not the best I could do. Mm-hmm. And I knew inside me that I was limited by a number of factors. I was limited by the fact that I was in the Ukraine. Mm-hmm. I was limited by the fact that people here don't speak English. Mm-hmm. I was limited. I knew my potential, and I knew that if I had been under different circumstances in different countries, that I could have done overwhelmingly more. But at the circumstances, at the given circumstances and situation, I thought I did maybe 80% my best. I thought I would score 80%. Mm-hmm. And, but when I began to go all over the world, and I saw that there was nothing close to what we were doing. Oh, I thought, well, I'm 99.
Wow.
So I began to respond to all these invitations to travel, speak to people, and I hate flying. I didn't like to do it, but because I saw the need, and the people were, overwhelming me with invitation letters and things. So I just thought, we have something to offer. Let's go give them. And I began to go like 2-3 times a month. And so I thank God when this situation arose with the probation not to go out of the country and investigation going on and things like that. I knew that God was trying to tell me something. And what I tell my members right now is that, you know what? All these persecutions were allowed for me. If I think just for me alone. For me, because, for example, I don't think I've really said this in the camera before, but I was before then I was taking a time away from God every month to be alone with God every month for 7 days or 3 days, 5 days. And but because I began to travel so much, I began to miss those days. I would still come and do it, but maybe once in 2 months, maybe once in 3 months. So it was affecting me, and the invitations were so many, I couldn't really make it. But for me, I told God that me preaching to church was not my ministry. I had told God, and I'd lived like that all my life, that preaching, teaching, ministry was my hobby. I don't really, it doesn't cost me anything to do that. That is just so cheap to me, it's so easy. But the real thing that I counted as ministry was that period of denying myself, walking away from the church ministry, saying no to even my family, just being alone with God. So that was what was really costing me something. Because ministry, preaching and teaching, that was enjoyment, You just enjoy, come under the anointing, miracles, and teach and preach and just speak wise things and people clap for you. But when you needed to lock the door, nobody there clapping for you, nobody seeing your secret life, alone with God, needed to just, you're not eating, not drinking, just drinking water for 6, 7 days, 5 days, and all week, close the door, 24 hours in the room, just 4 walls of the door, 4 walls of the room, and those were the real sacrifices. I'd done that for maybe 15 years in a row. I mean, not missing a month. And here I began to miss it. I knew God needed to rescue me and return me to my real ministry. So that's on one hand. On the other hand, of course I was going too much. And that was not good for my health. That was not good for my family as well. So I think that is why some of these things are, on personal note, a blessing. It's a blessing in disguise. So I tell my church at the time, it is for me. And so this persecution. But God doesn't talk to us. God doesn't just use extreme methods to teach us. But like Byron has said, pain is the most effective way God uses to teach us, and that's the most effective means of learning through pain. So possibly God must have impressed it upon my heart different days, but because you have friends that you respect, they want you to go, so you just kind of do some things because you just feel like people need you, and that you are doing the work of God anyway. You are pleasing God, you're traveling for God, and you are sacrificing to do that. So you thought, I'm sacrificing anyway. I didn't want to do it, but I'm sacrificing for God, but for people more rather than God. So anyway, so the pain of probation, the pain of false accusation, I probably needed it to really come back to my priority. So that's on the personal note. But that personal note and personal pain was to lead me to a new discovery. To a new discovery in the area of ministry. To a new discovery, and that's now led to the third phase of ministry life. So the first phase was the first 8 years. The second phase was the second 8 years. The third 8 years started, yes, is another third phase right now. Wow. I don't know, maybe another 8 years is waiting for me. Wow. But this discovery and this pain of persecution had led me to discover that what I thought to be 98% or 99% effectiveness is actually 1 or at most 2% effectiveness. You can't believe I work. Wow. You people who know me, you will know that Pastor Sunday is a workaholic. He's a working horse. I am a workaholic. And if you think
we learned this week, and apparently what we learned this week was the tip of the iceberg. Wow.
And if you think you know me this week, and you think you know me, and you know the way I work, that's nothing to do with Pastor Sunday.